on the National Pulse.
Thank you very much, my brother. How are you? How is South Africa and how is Africa treating you?
Well, we're always connected to you with an umbilical cord, so I'm sure you'll appreciate that, right? So, first things first, I spoke about the ICJ ruling. Have they ruled today on that issue regarding Sudan and the UAE?
The ruling is going on, the reading, but the signs are very clear. They will give what we call an adversary rather than a condemnation. That is what I can see. Because the amount each person, each place, each country says, I don't know. Bulgaria that sold the guns that were found in Sudan says we didn't sell them to Sudan. So the judges are looking at that. They're reading out their judgment, and I believe Sudan has put up a case, but the case it should have come into a different. My suggestion to them was different, and they did not take it. They might not get what they want. They instead came in with paranoia, plenty of paranoia, accusing almost everybody that was trying to be either to create peace or whatever it is. So the ruling might not come as a vindictive type of ruling, but it could come as an adversary and a warning shot to the both parties or to the party or UAE to say, please, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that.
All right. And if it's an adversary ruling as opposed to an outright ruling, that provisional ruling that amounts to the UAE aiding and abetting genocide, what would that mean? An adversary as opposed to actual provisional ruling that it's genocide or aiding genocide?
Because genocide must commit, if the Sudan government had wanted, would have gone to accuse a state, or would have accused whoever was committing genocide. But what Sudan government did was to hinge on who supplies, the supply, the sales, the activities, the transactions of arms into another faction. Their case should have been different. Their case is criminal, is more of a criminal enterprise than a resolution of the ICJ.
Okay.
I've been very frank with them on this matter, that this one is more of criminal. It goes more to the International Criminal Court of Karim Khan than this other court.
Okay.
Because the inflicted wounds are on RSF that is inflicting, as they claim, wounds. Therefore, you can't pick a third party who can say it is not me. They could have bought it through an intermediary of ours, but not us.
Okay.
So,
and you said
it becomes adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you make the point that you've advised them differently, and they clearly didn't take your advice, right? Why do you think? Maybe give us some context here. What has brought us to a situation now where Sudan, rightly or wrongly, saw fit to take the UAE to the ICJ? What is the context behind that? What happened?
They took because they found evidence of arms that come from UAE. But that does now not come to the genocide that we talk about. Who is killing? It is a criminal. It now becomes a criminal case that can be dealt with. And if you are seeking an order, you must prove the criminality here. Now, the criminality is not UAE. The criminality remains the person who is actually using the equipment to create a crime. So that is where the technicality is. And I believe, I'm telling you, the judges are going to come in to say, well, it's unlike the Israel case. The Israel case where there was direct evidence that Israel was dropping the guns on Gaza.
As a country,
judges
as a state, yeah, that's what you're saying, right? Yeah.
As a state, the country found out and said, please, we give you restraining orders, not to now to do A, B, C, D. That's it. But this one is, the Sudan, I told them long time ago, you are choosing wrong people. Because UAE will say, well, the guns are bought, they could have come through China, but we might have had some agents who sold them. So it becomes a story. So the ICJ does not deal with those type of stories. It is the criminal element of the International Criminal Court that now goes to find out whether the RSF is committing genocide. If it is,
okay,
now
I got
Sudan
that.
can now take
Yeah.
them to the other court. I have a similar court on Cameroon.
I
where
understand.
they separated Amazonia versus the territory.
All right, let's just end with this, Dr. David Matsanga. So, whatever the ruling is, and we'll find out, I think, well, just now, sooner, hopefully during this show of the National Pulse,
Very
right?
soon, in a few minutes.
Well, I'm sure you'll let us know as well.
minutes
Anyway, right?
before 5.
What about what is the context of the actual fight in the first place? Because I mean, there's been a period, I think, 2 years of absolute, call it civil war within the Sudan. What has sparked it off? And very importantly, forget what the ICJ says. How does one actually end this war?
So this war can't be ended. I warned the two warring generals. Both of them are my great friends. I knew them in 1994. I knew General Hamid and I knew General Burhan. Both generals, one was the commander of Janjaweed, the second one was second in command of Janjaweed. When Burhan left, General Hamid took over as the commander of Janjaweed. I warned them. I said the biggest conspiracy that is around Sudan is they want you to hand over Bashir. Stop dealing with International Criminal Court. You are going to create a very big war that you will never come out of it. My letters are in black and white on my website.
Okay.
Now, that war, they did not listen to my advice. They started hitting each other. I still came in. The side that has got, can you believe that now America does not even want to talk about Bashir? They know where Bashir is. This is where the whole problem is. They know where Bashir is, in a hospital. And is one of the countries who is also a member of ICC and a member of a great friend of USA.
Okay, here's the last thing. Let me wrap up with this, right? In 30 seconds, we're talking from a legal perspective, but ultimately, even these wars between, as you said, the two people who are both your friends anyway, right? Ex-Janjaweed, what impact does it then have on the people of Sudan?
Destroyed Sudan. The geopolitical situation in that region has destroyed Sudan. We have no Sudan anymore. It is gone. Khartoum is gone. Darfur is gone. And Africa is on its own. The United Nations Security Council is dead. Nobody can think about us. They think about Ukraine and Russia. We are done. Unless the African Union, which is moribund, which is dead, which is useless on this continent, stands up and begins to do what is supposed to.
Okay, I think we'll just
rise again.
Let's leave it at that, Dr. David Matsanga. Lots for us to consider. He's an international relations and conflict resolution expert. Goodness, we need all his skills to try and resolve conflict. All I can say in my experiences in being in Cairo last year, I do know this, that many of the head offices of leading banks and institutions from Khartoum in Sudan all are now centered in Cairo, which goes back to the point that Dr. Matsanga says that Sudan is gone. Khartoum is gone. Real tragedy. It's always It always is about the people, isn't it? 3:30, here's the news headlines with Ondela.